Okay, so whenever you're ready, we will come down to a comfortable cross-legged position. Of course, if this is uncomfortable or difficult for you, you can always bring a pillow or a folded blanket underneath the hips to give yourself that elevation, creating more room in the spine. If that is still uncomfortable, feel free to position yourself in a supine position, laying on your back. If you do that, let's go ahead and keep the knees pointed up towards the ceiling so that we're still keeping some activity in the body and not fully relaxing yet. Otherwise, hands can fall wherever they feel comfortable. We're going to start to tap into our belly breathing, our yogic breathing, and then I'm going to walk you through some instruction with the hand placement. So we're inhaling down into the nose, expanding at the belly. Exhale, belly contracts, and maybe you feel that slight lift in the diaphragm, that pressure up against the bottom ribs on the exhale. If you feel comfortable in your breathing practice and you're ready to expand it a little further, you can start playing around with what we call the bandhas or energy locks. So you have an energy lock right at the root, the bottom of the pelvis, call your Mula Bandha. You have a lock right in the diaphragm, your Uddiyana Bandha. And then there's a throat lock, which we don't use as often as the diaphragm lock or the root lock. So to engage the root lock, on the exhale, we contract the pelvic floor. So it's almost like we're lifting the floor of the pelvis. If you are a female identifying person, and you've practiced Kegel exercises before, it's similar to that engagement. So we're locking off the pelvis. For the diaphragm lock, we feel the belly button draw back to the spine and up. So it's almost like this slight zipper from the belly button coming back to the spine and then up. Remember as a kid, we would like bend over and suck our bellies in really, really far. That's what it feels like. It's this tucking of the ribs as the diaphragm comes up flush horizontal. So feel free to play around with that with your breathing. Today is our closest practice together to the big V Day, Valentine's Day, Love Day on Sunday. If you like celebrating that holiday, that's wonderful. I hope you have a great day. Today, we're going to use it to our advantage to focus our practice around heart opening or caring for the heart space. So for a lot of people, this can be a difficult time of year. Maybe for some people, it's a reminder of the love that we want in our life, but maybe don't have. And also be a reminder of those we've loved who have left us. And energetically, when we feel that restriction in the heart space, that's pain and hurt, we can start to physically close off. So when we're in pain or anxious or heartsick, we tend to round the shoulders, and we do that naturally in the wintertime anyway. So this is going to be great even if you don't have a loving relationship that you're longing for. So we round through the shoulders and close off that heart space physically. So today we're going to work on practicing the physiological aspect of opening up that heart space, which naturally is going to open us up energetically. So we're still breathing down into the belly. After your next exhale, we're going to take a position with our hands. That's called a mudra. Mudras can be wonderful ways to enhance your practice, but they're not necessary. However, I would like to invite some heart-opening mudras today. If they resonate with you, great. If they feel uncomfortable and you don't like it, don't feel that you have to participate. So the first one that we are going to practice, and I hope you can see my hand here. So we're going to flip the palm open. Pointer finger is going to come to the base of the thumb and curl. So we've got almost this B or D shape with the forefinger and the thumb, whichever way you look at it. Then middle finger and ring finger are going to come together and lean down to press the tips of the fingers against the thumb, and pinky stays straight. So I hope you can see this. Please stay where you are. I'm going to bring myself a little closer just so you can have a good look at my hand if you are confused. So forefinger is curled up against the thumb. Ring finger and middle finger are pressed against the pad of the thumb. Pinky stays out straight. So we'll do that with both of our hands. And you have two options here. We can either bring the hands right to the knees, or if you prefer, we'll bring right hand right to the belly, left hand to the heart space, keeping your mudra. So it's up to you. We'll stay here for one more minute with our breath, feeling the connection of the mudra, either energetically or just bringing your attention to where each finger is meeting the other. Depending on how tight you are in your arms, shoulders, neck, holding your hands in this way, you may be feeling a stretch that reaches up the forearm, wraps around the elbow, and up through the tricep. We're still breathing deep into the belly. Maybe you start tapping into your ujjayi breath, that audible, deep in the throat exhale. So if you're wondering if you are doing your ujjayi breath correctly, we're bringing the tip of the tongue right behind the top row teeth. We're bowling out to the center of the tongue, giving a slight constriction in the back of the throat and base of the tongue. And it's almost as if you are saying shh or with your mouth closed. Very good. We'll take one more inhale and exhale together. Here we go. Inhale. Long exhale. And at the end of your exhale, release your mudra, bringing your hands back down to a comfortable position. We're going to stay here and warm up the upper body. So we're going to inhale, both arms are coming up overhead, palms kiss together. We're nice and tall through the spine. Maybe you look up at your hands. On the exhale, we're going cactus arms. So palms flip open towards the front, and we bend at the elbows, bringing the arms nice and wide. Elbows are at a 90-degree angle, coming in line with the shoulders. Once you're here, if you need a little more, you can look up, opening the throat and the sternum to the sky. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms, we bring the arms down. Again, inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms come down. One more time, inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms, but this time we let the hands come all the way down. Elbows start to tuck into the sides. Hands meet us on the floor right next to the hips. Left hand is going to stay where it's at. Inhale, right arm comes up and over the side body. Maybe you look up at the ceiling. If you have neck issues, go ahead and keep your gaze out straight. Neck stays neutral. We're reaching over to the left. Inhale, exhale, belly button draws back to spine as we move through center. Right hand drops, left arm up and over. Inhale, exhale brings you back through center, and we go one more time on each side. Inhale, right arm up and over. Really feel that stretch from the fingers all the way down, the side body down to the hip. Hip stays nice and heavy. Exhale, back through center, left arm up and over. Exhale, back to center. This time on the inhale, both arms are coming up. Exhale, right hand is coming to the left knee as the left hand drops behind us in space as we turn to find a reclined twist. So again, when we're here, we're trying to move the belly button over towards the left knee, the left leg. So we're twisting from our core and not wrenching from our upper body. Bringing awareness to the body. Maybe you need to drop that right shoulder down away from the ear. You need a little bit more stretch in the neck. Maybe you drop the left ear to the left shoulder. And exhale brings you back to center. Again, inhale, both arms come up overhead and we take it to the other side. Left hand to right knee, right hand behind us in space as we find our twist. Maybe dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. Inhale and exhale. We come back to center. We're going to dive forward, but we're not coming onto all fours. So hips are going to stay in their seated position. If you are in a supine position on the floor, I would invite you to come up onto your knees or maybe into an extended child's pose for what we're going to do next. So slowly, we're going to bend at the hips. So if you want to place your hands in your little hip pockets right in the front, just to make sure that that is where you're bending from. As we start to crawl ourselves closer to the ground. So you may only get here, you may be up on the fingertips. You may want to bring a pillow, blanket, or block in front of you just to bring the earth up to you. Hips stay nice and heavy. So both hips, both glutes are going to want to try to come off the ground. depending on how you're sitting, one more than the other. So we're rooting them down to the ground, bending at the hips, allowing the spine to round, forehead, crown start to drop down towards the earth. And we breathe into the belly, feeling the low back expand on the inhale, the hips and the spine soften on the exhale. Let's take one more breath cycle here together. Big inhale and long exhale. And at the end of your exhale, hips will stay nice and heavy as we walk the hands over towards the left. Again, aiming to bring that belly button towards the top of the left thigh. And we allow the head, chest, crown to fall towards the earth. So we're getting a nice, deep, juicy stretch in the low back, the right hip. Toes and feet are nice and engaged if you're in a cross-legged position, so we're protecting the knees. And we attempt to bring the shoulders down away from the ears. After your next exhale, we'll stay nice and low, gently crawling ourselves over to the other side. This side may feel different than the other, and that's okay. Adjust accordingly. Exhale brings us back through center. We slowly walk ourselves back to an inclined position. If you want to shed some layers here, now would be an appropriate time. And together we'll meet each other on all fours. So you can roll right through your center, right through the ankles, or kick the legs off to one side as you come onto all fours. So today, we're going to do our cat-cows just a little bit different, bringing some attention to the hips and the root, which has a deep connection to the heart space. So we're going to bring our big toes together, knees as wide as the yoga mat or as wide as is comfortable, like we do when we're about to prep for extended child's pose. Hands are going to stay in our traditional tabletop. So elbows, but also wrists right underneath the shoulders. We're pressing into the fingertips, pressing away from the yoga mat, doming the chest cavity, belly buttons tied up to the spine, gaze is straight down. So we're going to move through our cat-cows from here. You feel like you have limited restriction here in the groin and the hips. That's completely natural. So this is meant to feel a little bit different than when we do our traditional cat-cows. So we're going to inhale, drop the belly, tail lifts, chest is open, and here's where you might feel it. So exhale, we round through, pulling the tail up towards the belly button, rounding through, dropping the crown. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through, Might need to adjust a little bit. Once you're there, inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Pressing away from the yoga mat, protecting the shoulder joints. Exhale, we round through. Ooh. Maybe you feel a little pop in the groin, the hip. I don't know if you could hear that, but that was me. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through. Inhale brings us back to tabletop. Left hand is going to come to our midline, so right below the nose. And we inhale, pressing away from the yoga mat. Right arm swings out laterally and up towards the ceiling, or as much as you can, rotating the chest up towards the sky. Exhale, we gently float the right hand down to replace the left, and we take it to the other side. Inhale, arm comes up to the ceiling. Chest is wide open. We're pressing away from the yoga mat. Inhale, exhale. Left hand replaces right, and we inhale again. Exhale, right replaces left. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, we release. Go ahead and sink the hips back. Arms extend out long to the front of your mat as we take 3 breath cycles in extended child's pose. Feeling the shoulder blades spread wide across the back. Feeling the hips soften. Maybe a release in the shoulder girdle. One more breath cycle here. Inhale. And exhale, we press up to all fours. Bring the knees underneath the hips just as a transition. Hands can stay out long because we're going up to downward dog. So we curl the toes under. Inhale and exhale, hips come up high. And make your adjustments. So elbow creases are shining towards each other, towards the front of the mat. So we're externally rotating the shoulders, spreading the shoulder blades wide against the back. Biceps are right by the ears. Hips are lifted up high. So if that means you need to come up on your toes or bend the knees to make that more accessible to you. Belly button is drawn up to the spine to protect the low back. You want to take some gentle movements, pedaling it out. No, I'm really sore today. I know a lot of you all week have been working at a desk, so the hips, hamstrings may be tender and tight today. Let's take one more breath cycle together. Inhale. And a long exhale. We're going to take a slow walk up to the front of the mat, crossing the right foot over to the left foot over to the right. Pausing with each movement to feel that really deep stretch along the IT band from the ankle all the way to the hip, low back. And we find ourselves in a forward fold. Take a moment to allow the spine to release. Maybe you sway gently from side to side. Maybe shake the head, yes, no. Maybe you bend and straighten one leg, or excuse me, bend one leg, straighten the other. Staying nice and gentle today. And when you're ready, we'll use our exhale to slowly roll up to mountain. You want to shed some layers here, you can. Otherwise, we will set ourselves up for success. Just doing some alignment reminders. So feet are directly underneath the hips. We're pressing into the inverted triangle underneath our feet. Heels, toe mount, or excuse me, ball joint of the big toe and ball joint of the little toe. Arches are lifted. We're active through the inner thighs. So what do I mean by that, active through the inner thighs? So if you were to try and pull your yoga mat in two with your feet, pulling them left to right, you'll feel this engagement through the midline. That's what I'm talking about. Knees are active, so we're strong in the legs, we're soft through the belly, open through the chest. Hands shine forward as we drop the shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades pinch together, gazes forward. When we open our hands this way, so of course, if this isn't comfortable, you can always take some other position or gesture with the hands. But when we open the palms, because everything is connected, we're opening the shoulder. So we're creating this external rotation in the shoulder, which pulls open the pectoral muscles, which opens up the chest and the heart space, both physically and energetically. Beautiful. We're going to inhale, both arms come up overhead. And on the exhale, they're going to drop right to our line of vision. So our thumbs are right in line with our heart space. Inhale, and slowly on the exhale, we're going to drape the left palm across the right forearm, across the bicep. It meets at the right shoulder. We drape it all the way across the chest and open the left hand towards the back of the mat. Hips are squared off to the front of the mat, so we've only created a twist in our upper body. If you have neck problems, we'll keep the gaze facing forward, neck neutral, or if you need a little more, gaze towards the back of your mat. One more breath here. And on the exhale, we'll gently swing the left arm back to meet the right at the front of the mat, and we take it to the other side. So try to take this nice and slow. Feel the fingertips running along your left hand, the inside of the left forearm, your elbow crease, the bicep, maybe it tickles a little bit, across the pectorals, the chest, as we open the right arm towards the back of the mat. If you liked that mudra that we did before, you can always bring your hands to that mudra here. One more inhale. And we release the right hand back to meet the left. We'll go one more time on each side just for one breath cycle on the hold. So we exhale, drape right arm across the left arm, or excuse me, left arm across the right. Chest opens up to the back of the mat. We're here for one breath cycle. Make it count. Inhale. Long exhale, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale, left hand swings back to meet the right. Inhale. And exhale, we start to drape the right hand across the left. Opening up to the back of the mat. Hands are in line with the shoulders, chest is wide open. We draw the shoulder blade or shoulders down away from the ears. Encouraging the shoulder blades to knit together. Exhale, right hand comes back to meet the left. Go ahead and bring your palms together at your heart space. We inhale, arms come down. So come up. We're going down into our forward fold, but this time, instead of keeping the palms together like we normally do, we're going to bring them out wide. So almost like you are diving, swan dive. All the way down on the exhale. Hands come down to the feet, and we inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down to the mat. We step the left foot back, right foot back. We're going to skip our upward facing dog and go straight into downward facing dog. So we're top of the plank for the inhale. Exhale, we move from the center, downward facing dog. Right foot comes to the midline. As we inhale, lift the left leg. We're going to bend at the knee, creating a right angle. And then shine the pelvis over to the left so that we're dropping the left toes over towards the right. Arms stay straight and strong. Inhale for one more breath. Exhale, release. Left foot comes down to replace the right. And we inhale, right leg up high. We bend at the right knee, bringing the right toes over towards the left, opening the pelvis and chest over towards the right. Exhale, release for one more breath. And exhale sends you up to the top of the mat. We roll up to mountain. Excuse me. Palms kiss together. We look up at our hands. Exhale, arms come to a wide V as we start to flow down, swan dive into our forward fold. Inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down. We go again. Top of the plank for the inhale. We move from the center on the exhale, meeting in downward facing dog. Now that you know what we're doing, you can move at your own pace if you'd like. Right foot comes to the midline. We inhale, lift the left. Bend the knee, open the pelvis. Exhale, release. Take it to the other side. Exhale, release for one breath and downward facing dog. Exhale sends you up. And we roll mindfully up to mountain. Palms kiss together. We inhale. Exhale, wide V with the arms as we start to swan dive down into our forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Here we go. Inhale, top of the plank. Exhale, sends the hips up high. Inhale, left leg lifts, pelvis opens. Exhale, release. Inhale, right legs turn. And release. Exhale, sends you up. And exhale. Hands come into a wide V as we dive forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, lifts you up halfway. We're doing this and one more round. So move at your own pace. Add or omit whatever serves you today. Remember to keep that belly button tucked back to the spine. Remember, that's not just for abdominal muscle work, but for protection of your back and spine. We fold on the exhale. Inhale, we lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Take your leg bends in your downward facing dog. So we're in a three-legged dog. And when you even out each side, we will stay in downward facing dog for 2 breath cycles. And on the next exhale, right knee comes right behind the right wrist. We're going into sleeping pigeon. So we swivel the right foot over to the left side of the mat. Toes are engaged, drawing up to the shin. And we start to walk the back leg down to meet our appropriate edge today, whatever that is for you. You can bring that heel as close to the left hip as possible. So we don't need to be shin parallel with the short edge of the mat. And if this is too much, you can always bring that right foot right underneath the right pelvis. Or the right glute. Right side of the pelvis, I think, is what my brain was trying to do. And we take a moment, chest open, creating this slight back bend in the chest. Fingertips are on the ground, shoulders are drawn away from the ears. And we exhale. We start to crawl slowly, gently. Belly down to the thigh. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you stack hand over hand or fist over fist to rest the forehead. Maybe you take it all the way down, arms extended out towards the front, heart surrenders to the earth. You can always bring a folded blanket, a pillow, or a block up underneath the right hip to give it a little bit more stability and elevation. Our hip bones are squared off to the front of the mat. We're pressing down through the top of the back foot for stability. Back knee is engaged. And take one more breath cycle here. Make it count. Inhale. And a long exhale. At the end of your exhale, we'll gently walk ourselves back up to a seated position. If any mermaid practice or any mermaid poses are in your practice, you can certainly take a moment for that. Otherwise, we'll curl the toes on the back leg, lifting the back knee, gently sliding that right foot back to meet the left. If you want to get to the other side from plank, that's great. If you want to send the hips up and come back in from downward facing dog, that's great too. Well, either way, we'll bring the left knee behind the left hand, swiveling the left foot out towards the right side of the mat. Gently, we walk the back leg down. Gonna feel different on this side. So find that sweet spot. Fingertips come down to the mat. We've got this slight back bend. We're active through the back foot, pressing down through the top of the foot. Active through the back knee. Left foot is engaged. Toes are pulling back towards the shin. Chest is open, shoulders down away from the ears. As we inhale and exhale, we slowly start to crawl the belly down towards the thigh, finding your arm position, whatever's most comfortable for you today. Maybe you crawl all the way down, surrendering the chest, the heart space to the earth. One more breath cycle together. Deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, long. End of your exhale is what starts to lift you as we gently crawl ourselves back up to a seated position. Again, if any mermaid or leg bends are in your practice, you can take a moment for that. Otherwise, we'll curl the toes of the back leg. Lift the knee. Left leg is gently coming back to meet the right. Reposition yourself if you need to. I got a little wonky on my mat here. We're at the top of a push-up. Hips are going up high to downward facing dog. We're just using this as a transition. So we inhale for one breath. Exhale sends us up to the top of the mat. And we roll our way up to mountain. Arms come up overhead. Palms kiss together. On the exhale, palms open up laterally to the left and the right. As we start to send the hands down behind the tail. Fingers are going to interlace right at the bum, right behind our back. So you can be palm to palm. If you don't have that much room in your shoulders today, you can always square off the wrists. So once we find our position, we loop the shoulders, pulling them forward and then back, drawing the fingers down the tailbone towards the earth. Big, big chest opener. We inhale. On the exhale, we're bending the knees slightly, giving a little buoyancy in the legs. And we're going down to Uttanasana, to our forward fold, just for one breath. So we bend at the hips. As you do, you're going to hit a point where your arms are like, what am I supposed to do? So we lift the fingers up towards the sky. So we want to keep the shoulder blades pinched together as much as possible, so we're not collapsing and rounding through the chest. We're here for one breath. Inhale, we lift the fingers, and slowly with control, we release, sending the arms, hands down towards the feet. We inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Fingertips come down to the mat. We heel toe. The feet a little wider than the hips. If your toes are spilling off the mat, that's great. Heels are coming in at an angle. So I'll turn so you can see me a little bit better here. And we're coming down into our yogi squat to finish out our practice. So if you want to get there by keeping the fingertips on the ground as a guide, that's great. If you can get there from a standing position, that's great too. And we'll meet each other here. Adjust your stance as needed. Elbows come to the inner knees. And we drop the tail as close to the ground as possible. If you want to bring a block here, maybe a stack of books to have, that's great. If you need a little bit more elevation, you can bring a folded blanket right up underneath your heels. Or if it's more comfortable to just lean forward, coming up onto the heels, that's fine too. But if we are here together, we lift the chest towards the thumbs, lengthening the spine. And I'll bring you into our last and final mudra. So base of the palms are going to kiss together. Pinky finger and thumbs are going to come together. Ring finger, forefinger and middle finger stay wide open. So I hope you can see this. This is our lotus mudra. So we're pressing the pinky fingers together, the edge of the thumbs together, and the base of the palms together. And we inhale through the nose down into the belly. Shoulders draw away from the ears. We're here for 3 breath cycles. Inhale. Exhale through the nose or mouth. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Sending the tail all the way down to the ground. Exhale. Wonderful. At the end of your exhale, release. One hand comes to the front, one comes to the back. As we guide ourselves down into a seated position, we'll sit cross-legged or whatever's comfortable for you. Hands come together at the heart space, at the third eye, or down on the knees. You could even clasp palms together at the root. So take a moment to end our practice. Thank you for being with me on this cold, cold, cold day. I hope the rest of your day is filled with warmth. I hope that you were able to tap in a little bit to your heart space, or if not, at least get a great stretch in the pectorals and the shoulders today. If you feel a little bit sore, you can always use some wet heat. So like a hot, wet towel, maybe a hot shower or hot bath, and plenty of water. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next week.